What's up, UTU Trust Guardians? I'm Mike, your Chief Commercial Officer, and we are kicking off something new today. Welcome to the first installment of the UTU Trust Guardian Interviews, where we'll do video conversations with members of the UTU community. This can include chats with team members, investors, advisors, and general supporters to learn more about their backgrounds, why they believe in UTU, and how they're helping to increase trust across the entire internet. Today, we are speaking with one of the newest team members of UTU, Head of Product Nereah Okanga. So Nereah started UTU on March 1st, which perfectly aligned with the beginning of Women's History Month, which we'll talk a little bit about later. She's already made a big impact on improving our product management process and making it much more organized and efficient. But I'll let her talk more about that. So Nereah, welcome. How is it going so far?
Hi, Mike. Hi, UTU community. Happy to be a part of the team. It's going great so far. I've learned so much in the 3 weeks that I've been part of this UTU family and read lots of documentation. The UTU community is big on documents, as I've come to find out.
Well, that's good. We need
Yes.
to make sure that everything's on paper, everything's organized. Yeah, I mean, it is absolutely a lot to pick up and learn, but it sounds like you are off to a great start. Before we jump into your roles and responsibilities, talk a little bit about your background, both on a personal as well as a professional level.
Okay, well, I live in Kenya, Nairobi, Kenya. I'm based here, have been in Nairobi for about 10 years now. Before I was in Nairobi, I lived in South Africa for about 10 years. I am originally Kenyan, so it's great to be back home in Nairobi. I was born and raised in Nairobi. Professionally, I'm a product person. I'm a product manager and have been a product manager for over 10 years now. I talked about my stay in South Africa. So I actually studied computer science at the University of Pretoria and first started working as a software engineer before I discovered my passion for product management. Yeah, so in a nutshell, I have a technical background. Started out as an engineer and then figured out I really don't like to be the one coding. I like to be the one documenting things that people are coding.
Cool.
Yes.
So how did you discover UTU and what made you decide to join our team?
Well, that's an interesting question, Mike. So I had been looking for a new challenge since the beginning of the year and a new place to grow and leverage off of my core strengths. And when I came across the UTU head of products opportunity on LinkedIn, the word UTU first of all struck out, and I was like, that's an interesting name for a company. So I started to Google more about UTU and read a little bit more about what UTU does specifically, and it really spoke to me mostly because in terms of where my strengths are and where my focus had been technologically, most of where UTU plays in, for example, blockchain, is nowhere near where I had been focusing. And so this is somewhere I thought I would love to be interested. I'd love to join and sort of learn from you as much as you may possibly learn from me.
Yeah, so for those who don't know, Utu means humanity in Swahili, and that's and tell me if this is kind of what resonated with you. Is that's really comes from the way that we are trying to transform trust on the internet to be more human and work more like it does in the real world. Yeah, definitely that a very unique name, and but has a lot of meaning behind it.
That's exactly it. That's
Yeah,
exactly it.
yeah. So tell us more about your role as head of product at UTU. What will you be responsible for overall, and what are some of the key initiatives that you're focusing on right now?
Okay, so as head of product, I will be in charge of product development, basically, which basically means bridging the gap between the business opportunities and development ongoing within the engineering team. And that involves everything from understanding user problems to user experience to even informing the roadmap and collaborating with you, Mike, on product
Mm-hmm.
pricing and positioning strategies.
Sure.
As of now, my immediate focus is to set in place a product development lifecycle and processes within UTU so that there are clear guidelines of how a product travels from ideation into development of the product and then back into the market so that everyone is kept in the loop throughout the development cycle of the product without having to necessarily speak in technical jargon.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and I think a lot of that right now, I think very typical of startups is there's just a lot of information flying everywhere about products. Things are moving really fast, and right now we're obviously getting very close to launching our Trust API. So right now it is mid-March, and so yeah, I think you play a very critical role in informing a lot of people in the organization about where we are in the product and really leading that management of the process. And you speak about it with the way you spoke about your product role. It sounds very cross-functional and really wide-reaching across the organization. So can you provide a little bit more detail about the point that you made about interacting with other parts of our organization, whether it's sales, marketing, the executive team, engineering? Where do you kind of fit within the organization, and where do you see yourself carving out that spot within the UTU organization?
That's a good question. So, if I'm to look at the role of a product manager within an organization, I would say a product manager needs to both collect information from various stakeholders throughout the product development lifecycle. So, the stakeholders being within sales, marketing, engineering, and then plug that information within the various sort of life cycle of the product as it's going through development, right? And this means that the product manager has to keep the conversation going in collecting the right information for the product to be developed, and then passing on the right information while the product is being developed, and then collaborating when the product is going to market. So the product manager is sort of central within the role in speaking to the various stakeholders whenever the product is passing through the loop of the product development lifecycle.
Sure.
And that's how the product manager engages with each of the stakeholders.
Yeah, definitely very again mentioned cross-functional, very central role within the organization. So in the short term, I mentioned before we do have the Trust API releasing into the wild very soon. What are some of the other short-term initiatives that you're looking at? Some of the products that you're working on, and where you see some of those things coming up for the product organization.
So right now, as product management, what we are trying to focus on is documenting a lot of the putting into paper a lot of the documentation for upcoming products that are going to launch. I mean, it's sort of a bit too late for the ones that are going to market very soon, and very soon being like this month.
Yeah, very soon.
So for the ones that are going to market, yes, for the ones that are going to market next month, and then of course within the roadmap of this year, it will be very important to then put in place specific documentation that then really dictates and puts into place proper procedure and protocol so that everybody's on the same page. And like you, Mike, as in your role are able to tell, okay, this is exactly where the product is, so that you're able to prepare beforehand and are able to know when exactly the product will be ready, so that you and your team are able to then focus and don't have to keep asking, okay, where is this product? We've been waiting for it, we're ready, where are you guys at? And that's where the product team kind of comes into place. So my immediate focus is getting these things in place, so that we don't have those gaps.
Yeah, great. All right, awesome.
Yes.
Anything else about your role or anything that kind of current state of affairs that you wanna throw out there?
My other focus would be, and as a product manager, I really love to speak to the end users. So I'm very keen on getting to know UTU clients. I know we have different use cases. We have a large number of clients that we focus on, or a large number of use cases that we want to roll out with the Trust API and all the other products. So
Sure.
I'm really excited to get to the market and speak to the different clients and listen to their different use cases. So for me, that's one really exciting part of my role that I can't wait to get started on.
Yeah, I think that's so important in the product development process, because like we, as UTU employees, we kind of think that we know how to build these things and what the benefits are and what the features that the clients want, but really we need to hear it from the client, right? And you get to just surface so many different insights from those conversations, and many times it's just like a phone call, right, or or emails or whatnot, very simple everyday communications, but you get to just hear it exactly from the people who are using the product, and that insight is absolutely invaluable.
That
All
is
right.
very, very true. That is
Yeah.
very, very true.
Yeah. So I'm going to switch gears a little bit. So I mentioned earlier that you started at the beginning of March, which of course is Women's History Month. So what does Women's History Month mean to you, Nereah?
So to me, Women's History Month is a chance to acknowledge and celebrate overlooked women who have contributed to our history. I do notice that, especially from where I'm from, which is the African continent, Women's History Month is celebrated by particular communities. And so for me, I would like to add that I hope that one day Women's History Month may be celebrated more internationally and by more communities, so that we celebrate even more overlooked women who right now aren't necessarily celebrated. So for me, I would say the celebration of women who we don't acknowledge and celebrate every day, especially because they're overlooked. For me, that's why Women's History Month is very important.
Yeah, and I do love the celebrations. It surfaces a lot of things that you never knew, and the huge impact that many women had on the world, on many industries. And I think it also highlights the importance of diversity for organizations as well, and building a diverse team, because and this could go through with be applicable to to gender, to culture, to educational background. It just provides a lot of different perspectives to make us better at whether it's like identifying needs for different populations when we're building product, or different ways of delivering marketing messaging, based on different cultures. So I think every company can improve their diversity, but specifically, like, one of the reasons why I was very attracted to UTU was its commitment to building a diverse team. I think there's there's a good mix of men, women, people from Africa, people from America, from different countries, and from very different backgrounds. So that was one of the things that really attracted me to UTU. Obviously, you know, every company's got a ways to go, and we still continue to build a diverse team. But I think that's just one of the things that Women's History Month brings up to me. I think is just really putting a spotlight on that diversity and all the benefits that it can bring. So usually when I do interviews, I will do some quick fire questions at the end. Just I got 3 questions for you, just in rapid succession. Are you ready?
I'm ready.
Okay. All right. Tell us something unique and interesting about you that not many people may know.
Wow. Okay. This one, I can't believe I'm saying this out loud. I usually just keep this one in my head.
This is for all the world to see.
Yodel. I know. I wish I could yodel. So I know. You know, when I was young, and I used to watch TV shows, and the TV shows where people yodel, I used to think it was really cool. And I'd be like, I really wish I could do that. So even now, if I could find a yodeling class, I would definitely enroll. And maybe one day, during an UTU Trust Guardians meetup, I would surprise you all with a yodel.
That would be amazing. And I'm sure there's some, I don't know, videos on YouTube or something that teaches you how to yodel, or find some yodelers on TikTok or something like that.
I'll definitely have a look.
Yeah. Okay. Number 2, if you can chat with anyone dead or alive, who would it be and why?
So I would have to say Jesus Christ. Okay, I'm cheating here because technically Jesus isn't anyone. For believers, they would say he's the way, the truth, and the life. So the why is because as I grow older, I find that I've gotten more in touch with my spirituality, and I would love to have a deeper conversation with him about life, why things happen, and why sometimes they don't. So I would just like to have a very deep conversation with him.
Yeah, right. All right. Last question. What is something that you believe but few others agree with, and you cannot say that yodeling is the best way of singing?
I've had this conversation sometimes with my friends, and I've been told to get a life, but I'm going to put it out there. So I think the truth is relative, right? So my version of the truth and your version of the truth may sometimes align. Mm-hmm. Sometimes they can be parallel, and sometimes they may even collide. So the truth isn't always black and white. Truth is relative. It's a relative term, and it depends on whose point of view you're looking at it from. So I believe that not a lot of people agree with me. Some people are just like, the truth is the truth and a lie is a lie. And yeah, so that's one of the things that I believe. Not a lot of people, you know, agree with that statement.
Yeah, I think it, you know, kind of goes back to that diversity issue, right? It's like, okay, this depends on where you're from, what the background is, and a lot of that goes into determining that. So, awesome. Nereah, any last final words?
Yes. So thank you so much for having me here. It was great chatting with you. I am very, very happy to be a part of the UTU community. I can't wait to get to know everybody personally, and I'm really, really looking forward to this journey and getting to know everybody on a personal level.
Awesome. Yeah, that was a lot of fun. Thank you so much for taking part in the very first Trust Guardian interview. You know, you've got a great, interesting background. We are really excited to have you on board. And yeah, I think you've been off to a great start, and we're really pumped to see how you work to get everything organized in our product organization. So. All right, Trust Guardians, we hope you enjoyed that interview, and please hit that like button if you did. There will be more Trust Guardian interviews to come, so make sure you hit that subscribe button too so you don't miss them. Thanks so much for tuning in, and we'll see you soon. Have a good one. Take care, Nereah.
Thank you. Bye.